Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another conversation with JR. It's been a long time since I have connected with my audience, and I am so glad to be back. It's a beautiful day here today. It's a Monday. It's almost summer. I'm here in New York City, and it is a beautiful day. I thought it was a beautiful day to talk about relationships and another relationship topic because, Conversations with JR, we are dedicated to discussing, exploring some of the relationship myths that lead people into having dysfunctional relationships. I think that we have enough emotional broken people in this world who have been damaged by relationships. So let's just get down to the bottom of what I'm going to be talking about today. I am not a therapist. I am not a relationship expert, and nor do I claim to have any answers to help you to solve your problems in your relationship or to fix your relationships. I am just a person who believes that through deep conversation, through meaningful conversation, that we can begin to explore the reasons why people are experiencing so many dysfunctional, relationships. And when I say relationships, today we're talking about the intimate relationship. So, today's conversation is titled, Be the Person That You Want to Date or to Marry. Be that person. So I'm going to clarify that for you when I say be that person. In this complicated world of dating, men and women are sitting down, and what they're doing is that they're rolling out a list of requirements for either a potential long-term partnership, marriage, or as the young people would say in today's society, someone to do just for now. Mr. Right Now, Mrs. Right Now, which I think is really terrible. But anyway, so here we are. Gone are the old days when boy meets girl, boy likes girl, they join together in holy matrimony, and they live happily ever after. I mean, that's how my parents met back in the days, and they clicked, they made a connection, and it lasted 32 years, 8 children, until death did its part, until my father went home to meet his maker. Thank God my mother is still living. So gone are those days. Nowadays, people are requiring, you have to roll out like a resume. There's a list of requirements. Some people want proof of divorce because there's so many scams out here where people say they're separated or they're divorced, but they don't have that real authentic piece of paper that says, I am no longer legally married to that person. So I don't blame them for wanting that. People want credit checks, and they have salary requirements, and they want people to own property, and there's prenuptial agreements, and there's yours and mine's bank account. In addition, women, I've heard through conversation, some women are asking for a monthly allowance. Wow. Anyway, let's cut to the chase. For the men and women who are playing the dating game, because that's just what this really is. It's playing the dating game. Now, I believe in sitting down and putting your cards out on the table, so to speak. I believe in that because my experience with dating and relationships have been so disastrous because of lack of knowledge. For lack of knowledge. But I believe that in this dating game, because people play so many foolish games out here now in the dating game, here's a bit of advice, or can I say suggestion. Make sure that you have created the exact lifestyle, or that you have the requirements that you're requesting from a future partner. That's right, I said that. And the reason why I'm saying that, and I said that the title of this conversation was be the person who you want to date, who you want to marry, who you want to establish a lifetime partnership. You be that person first. That's what you need to do. Because at the end of the day, I don't think anyone has the right to ask someone for all these requirements if they don't have these things. In other words, be the person that you want to date or marry. Let me clarify. When I say be the person who you desire to have as a life partnership or equal partner, I am speaking to the mature people, grown-ups who have their feet planted firmly on the ground, firm foundation, emotionally stable, and they are ready and open and willing to be in a monogamous relationship. These are the people who I am talking about. If you are requiring a person to earn a six-figure salary or have an education, be stable in their profession. Maybe you want someone who has good health because you take care of yourself. You want someone who's going to be honest and compassionate. Again, emotionally stable. And you want someone who lives by good values and morals. Then you have to be that person also. I can't want a man who lives by good standards and good morals and have good values, but I don't. If I want someone who has a six-figure salary, maybe I am not earning a six-figure salary, but I need to be somewhere up there where I am matching that person. Why are you requiring that person to earn a six-figure salary? Have you maintained your own lifestyle by a six-figure salary before you want someone else to maintain you? The most common question that people sit down and ask is, what are you bringing to the table? This is what people are now talking about when they are engaging or thinking about engaging in a relationship. What are you bringing to the table? I mean, there is nothing wrong with evaluating the qualities and the characteristics of another person. There is nothing wrong with that. But we are living in a society when that's all that matters when it comes down to wanting to make a connection in a relationship. And I don't even call that a connection in a relationship. I call that a business proposal. You know, what are you bringing to the table? Tell me what you got and I'll tell you what I have. You know, it's like tit for tat. Let me see if you can match what I have. And I don't know if I want to establish, start off a relationship like that. Yes, you want to get to know how this person handles their money. You want to get to know how this person earns their money. You want to get to know that this person is responsible with their money and what they're thinking about when it comes down to future planning. And yes, you want to make sure that this person is stabilizing their career or their profession. Yes, you want to make sure that if this person just has a GED and is a civil service worker and has a great job with great benefits, and you happens to have a master's degree and you're working your way up there, I don't see anything wrong with that. I really, really don't see anything wrong with that. But I think sometimes people take certain qualifications and they go overboard with it. In this modern times of women are being self-sufficient, men are requiring women to bring more into the relationship than just good looks and being a freak in bed. I'm sorry, I said that. Because I am listening to what I hear men, brothers, non-brothers. I am just sitting around listening to what I hear men talk about, or I ask men questions. And now they're expecting women to bring more into the relationship than what they have normally been bringing into a relationship. And they don't want these women, they don't desire to have these women who have a long laundry list of needs. You have to be able to do this. You have to be able to support me in this way. You have to be able to give me this. You have to be able to wine and dine me and fly me here. And we have to have crystal and we have to do this. They don't want these women who are coming with these long laundry lists in order for them to maintain them. Thus, this is where the term high maintenance come in at. She's a high maintenance woman. Women like that give average women a bad name. They really do. Because they come and they have so many requirements. Now listen, don't get me wrong. There is nothing wrong with a woman having standards. There is nothing wrong with a woman wanting a man to uphold a certain standard of living for her. But my question is this. Are you already living in that standard? And that you want someone to continue to help keep you in? Are you living in that standard? For example, me, I always use myself as an example. You know, way back when I was having horrible relationships, and I don't blame the men. This is not about male bashing or pointing fingers or being a victim. I thought it was the man's responsibility to take me on trips and take me on vacations. And when it didn't happen, I was very angry and I was very down on myself, and I tried to figure out what was I not doing? What was I not giving enough of myself to earn these vacations? And then years later, what I discovered was I wasn't giving those things to myself. I had not brought myself to a level of a certain standard of living, of maintaining myself. But here I want these men to come along and do it for me. No, they have to arrive and already see that I have a certain level, a certain standard that I live by. And I am asking you to match that, meet that, and we maintain that. So that is something that I really, really had to learn. And vice versa. Women are no longer falling for the smooth lips of sweet, talky men who persuade women to part with their money and drive their cars and freeload by living in their space. A lot of women, intelligent thinking women who are not clingy, desperate for men, women who know themselves, know their self-worth, have high self-esteem. These are the women that I am talking about. They're no longer falling for that, Barry White evening and, because you made wonderful, passionate love to me. Now you can ask me for money. You can drive my car and you can move into my space. A lot of women are giving up on that. They're not doing that anymore. Because it's basically you are supporting this man. You are taking care of this man. And here is the question. What is this man bringing to the table besides what he has in his pants? Come on, let's be realistic about it. This is why I call it Conversations with JR. We live in a real world, and let's be realistic. People are talking about things like this every day. People need to grow up and act like the mature adults they claim to be. When it comes down to dating and looking for a mate. That's what people need to do. Men and women. We're not living that fake Hollywood facade. Life is not a reality show. Not for the real people out here who get up every morning and hit the ground running and have to earn their money the hard way. They really, really earn it. Okay, we need to be approaching partnerships and marriages. And even if you're just dating and kicking it with a person, whatever situationship you find yourself in, that's fine. But at least have respect and don't play a game. You can't expect to call the shots and engage in an unbalanced relationship. When I mean unbalanced and an unfair relationship, is that when one person is reaping all the benefits from their list of requirements, and it's mostly a lot of the time women, while the other person is being used as a doormat or an ATM machine, and you drop by their house like it's a pit stop, only staying by long enough to have your needs met, but quickly moving on. That's not a good foundation for a relationship. What you're doing is that you're just using people. People are benefits to you. And people who are going into relationships, especially women, we need to watch out for these people who are just looking for you for the benefits, for the time being. You're just something to do. You add something to their life right then and there. We need to be careful about that. People who expect to engage in relationships only because their requirements are met and not because of an emotional and a spiritual connection. This isn't a relationship. It's more like a business proposition. What can you do for me? This is what I can do for you. This is what you can give me. This is what I can give you. I see some people in relationships like, if I buy you something, you have to buy me something back. No, you went into the store, you purchased a gift for me, you gave it to me. Thank you for thinking about me. It was very thoughtful. I'm very touched, but thank you for thinking about me. Nowadays it's always with men. I've been single since 2017. We're now in 2022. I'm single on purpose. I'm enjoying this time in my life, this path of my life, because I got tired of men asking me if I ask them to come over and help me to do something, put together a piece of furniture. I'm great at painting, but if you can come over and assist me, first thing, what's in it for me? I get so sick and tired of that what's in it for me, that tit for tat. There's no longer, I want to do this to be the gentleman to help this young lady out. She's living alone. She's single. She's trying her best. She's living a good life. She lives by good values. She's living by good morals. This young lady, she gets up and she hits the ground running. She hits the pavement every day. She's earning her money. She's not hanging out. She's not out in the parties. She's a woman of substance. What happened to men who appreciate that? What happened to women? It's vice versa too. What happened to women who appreciate just the average man who is honest and get up every day and go out and earn money? And he's responsible for himself. We don't want that anymore because everybody now is too busy looking at benefits for themselves and requirements for themselves and things that they just want for themselves. When you're in a relationship, when does it become just for self? And it all depends on what you're going into the relationship for. Listen. I'm going to end this conversation like this. Suggestions for your requirements. Since you want to sit down and you want to have so many requirements when you're engaging and, you say you're looking for a relationship and you're engaging in a relationship. How about respect? How about good morals, good values? How about honesty? Support, love, compassion. How about you make sure that he or she doesn't have a side chick stuck around someplace? How about making sure that he or she isn't really still legally married to that person that they say that they are separated from? Ladies, how about if he has a baby mama, whatever, how about to make sure that he is being respectful to his child's mother and that he is honoring her by taking care of those children? When we sit down and think about be the person who you want to date, build that person, create that person within yourself. Before you go out there and throw this list of requirements on someone else, you'll be that person. And I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, if you build that person within yourself, if you are that person within yourself, the qualities of the people that you are going to meet are going to change. The standards are going to be raised, and it's going to be better for creating long-lasting, reliable, monogamous, loving, honest relationships. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you for joining Conversations with JR. You can find me on all social media, Facebook, and don't forget, I have a YouTube channel, Conversations with JR. don't you just go over there, subscribe? I have so many videos talking about different relationship issues. Until the next time, don't forget, be the person who you would like to engage in a relationship with. Thank you for listening.